Okay. That concludes our video on Charlotte Cracker. Hope you all enjoyed. One of the sweet commanders, of course. You have anything extra to add, Barry? Okay, cool. Have a good one, everybody. Alright, no, haven't made a video about Cracker. That's one of those things I've been saying before. Like, I think when I did the Tauntland videos, when I did the Yonko Commander video, I'm like, I'm gonna talk about Cracker. You know, Cracker gets constantly downgraded, I think, because he was defeated relatively early on in the Tauntland arc. Luffy hits him with the Gumu Gumu no, he was in Gear 4 Tank Man, he hits him with the cannon, he gets blasted off like Team Rocket, slams into the side of Whole Cake Chateau and just like hits the ground. Keep in mind, the whole reason that enraged army attacked Luffy and Nami, the whole reason they were enraged was because he defeated Cracker, okay? So that kicked off Luffy getting captured and thrown in the book prison, and then Jinbei showing up and rescuing him. It all comes down to Cracker, okay? It's unfortunate because we don't get to see Cracker at all during the arc after that. He doesn't appear at the tea party or anything. I guess he's just out of commission the entire time that's going on. He's not dead. He just even stated during his fight with Luffy that I can't really stand pain all that much. Even the shot of like a needle, you know, that's something that just, you know, really just scares me and just I can't stand the pain from that. So you can imagine the level of pain that he had to endure when Luffy shot him out like a freaking cannonball and he slammed into the side of a castle, right? He's not dead, but he's probably in the... I would have loved to see Cracker, like, in the infirmary in Whole Cake Chateau in, like, a full body cast, like a cartoon character. You know, like Wile E. Coyote just gets shot into the side of a mountain, and then you just see him in a full body cast, and he's just, like, sipping juice out of, like... Like, I can see Cracker like that, right? Alright. That's all fun and games, sure, fine. But we need to talk about something very serious before we continue this video, okay? We need to clarify the difference between crackers, biscuits, and cookies. Because I understand that depending on which culture you grew up in, what country you're living in, they might call them different things. So allow me to set the record straight right here and right now. Oh yeah, Barry, we're doing this. This lovely little, snack I'm holding right here, this is a cracker, alright? This is the only thing I will call a cracker. It's crunchy, and it's buttery, and it's delicious. Okay, you with me so far? Alright, instructions unclear. I got my D stuck in a cracker. Okay. This is a cookie, alright? It's delicious and sugary. It may be buttery as well, but cookies have a certain level of sugar quality to them. I'm sure these probably have sugar in them too. Everything has sugar in it, basically. But, yeah, these are cookies, these are crackers, alright? And these are biscuits. Typically, what I know as a biscuit is something that you actually put in the oven to bake. I know you put crackers and you put cookies in the oven as well, but biscuits are like soft and fluffy and flaky, and that's what I consider a biscuit, alright? We all on the same page now, alright, cool, alright. So, moving on to Cracker. Alright, so he first appears looking like this, alright? He's a giant, imposing fellow. It's no wonder why he has the name Charlotte Cracker, because he's covered in a cracker-based armor. He has a very mean expression. He's got a scar on his face. He's got the beard. He's like, I've been through my share of battles, Monkey D. Luffy. And so, he shows up in the Seducing Woods because essentially, Brûlé was supposed to stop Luffy's advance into the island, but Cracker, he's kind of in charge of the security on Whole Cake, as well as a lot of Totland, using his Devil Fruit power. We'll get into that in a second. So he didn't really trust Brûlé, or rather, he wanted to make really damn sure that, Luffy was taken care of. So that shows at least that he's proactive, okay? He's like the, chief of security. He's one of the sweet commanders. He gets some intel from Pudding. Hey, Monkey D. Luffy and part of his crew are gonna be arriving at Whole Cake Island at this place at this time, because Pudding was the one that gave him the map and then, relayed that information back to Cracker. Now, you gotta hand it to him, because he could have easily just been like, Monkey D. Luffy, whatever. Brûlé, take care of him. And then Brûlé, of course, was like, yes, of course, brother, I'll take care of him. But Cracker's like, I imagine he's sitting there looking at the wanted posters, and he knows that Vinsmoke Sanji is on the island, and that's the reason he's coming to get him. I can imagine Cracker's looking at all of the wanted poster, and he's like, wait a second. This might be a bit too much that Brule can handle. I better go make sure this gets taken care of, okay? Because it reflects poorly on him. You know, it doesn't matter if he's a sweet commander or not. Snack was a sweet commander too. He got defeated by a Rouge, and we see what happened with him. Alright, we don't want to end up like Snack. No one wants to end up like Snack, right? Fun fact, when Snack was defeated by a Rouge, it was Cracker that showed up and defeated a Rouge after that battle there. Later on, when you see Kaido, you know, jumping off the Sky Island and a Rouge is there, he's all bandaged up at the balloon terminal, that's most likely from his fight with Cracker, okay? We get to see it a little bit more in the anime, the actual fight between Cracker in his armor, fighting a Rouge and using his techniques and taking out a Rouge. We don't get to see it too much in the manga, though, which sucks, because, you know, a Rouge, I feel like we don't get a lot of him in the manga at all. Him and Apu are kind of the two supernovas that don't really get a lot of spotlight, you know? At least Apu's gonna get a little bit more in Wano, because we've already seen him there as like a double agent, but a Rouge not so much, right? Thank God for Stampede. But anyway, so, yeah, Cracker goes then to confront Luffy personally, and he shows up, and the fight does not go very well. Luffy's, all of his attacks are not really denting the armor at all. Even a Red Hawk doesn't really do much of anything, so Luffy has to, you know, knock it up a notch. He's like, alright, you're a pretty tough bastard. Alright, here we go. Gear 4th. So he goes into Gear 4th, and using Gear 4th, he's able to Kong gun and boom! Not only pierce through the armor, but he's also able to break through his sword. You know, Cracker's holding a sword, and he adds hockey to it, and he's like, pretzel roll! And I love the aesthetic. I just love the idea of making biscuits and crackers and pretzels as, like, deadly weapons, right? Adding some hockey to it, you know? Let me tell you something, okay? I was in a public school, like, oh god... I was gonna say not too long ago, but no, it was about 10 years ago. I was a junior in high school, okay? I had to deal with some pretty low-quality lunches, okay? And one thing that there were two things. They had pretzels that were pretty rock hard, too, but something else that they always gave us was the pizzas. The pizzas in the school I went to were circular, which is fine if it was a normal pizza, but the crust of that pizza was hard as stone. Like, seriously, like, you could petrify somebody with this damn pizza crust. It is so damn hard. So you literally had to take the pizza, and, like, you had no hope of actually biting through it on that edge. It was so hard. You had to take the pizza, and then crack the pizza in half so you could eat it, and the sauce and the cheese were horrible. But, okay, that's basically what Luffy has to punch through, a low-grade public school pizza crust. So that's it's basically adamantium for essentially, you know, practical purposes. But, using Gear 4th, Luffy is able to break through it. And for a moment there, you think, like, he succeeded, because, you know... Okay, I really should... Hold on. Throat's gonna be so dry in this video. I'm required by law to eat a cracker every 5 minutes. No, I'm not doing that. But anyway, so for a second there, it's like Luffy punches right through the cracker soldier, and it's like, whoa! He just blew Cracker in half, like, Jesus. But no, then we even see blood, like, coming out of his mouth, and it's like, whoa! But then we find out what's really going on here. You see, Cracker's a fan of The Wizard of Oz, you know, so he's doing the whole, like, man behind the curtain gambit. So Cracker, his actual flesh and blood body, is inside of the Cracker armor, and then he emerges and takes his actual sword called Pretzel. The other swords that the soldiers wield are just modeled after Pretzel. They're just, you know, literally what he does is he just takes crackers and biscuits and then breaks them apart into, like, dust, and then he just molds them into whatever shape he wants, so he can make anything out of his crackers, right? So he comes out of the Cracker Soldier with his actual Mato Pretzel, and he slices Luffy's arm with Gear 4th, because Luffy's, like, all of his punching power was directly, you know, like a blunt force to break through the soldier. Luffy's not too good at protecting himself against really sharp attacks. You know, now, if it's like a random, you know, ruffian, like, I'm gonna hurt you, Luffy, with a sword or a dagger, yeah, Luffy could probably protect against that, no problem, but Cracker, using Haki, using a Mato, he goes to slash, you know, Gear 4th's arm, and he does succeed. The blade gets into his arm, not the whole way, but it slices him fairly, you know, a good amount, and then Luffy has to retract. It's like, ah, damn it! And then Cracker jumps out, and he presents himself like, ah, not very many people get to see my true appearance. Even the Navy doesn't know what I really look like. And he pulls up his wanted poster, and even the wanted poster looks like the rough and tumble kind of, you know, soldier design. So this is what Cracker actually looks like. He does, in fact, have a scar on his face. However, he's lacking the beard and the very burly appearance. His hair is the thing that I think most people would notice. I mean, he's really ripped. He works out, all right? But yeah, looking at the hair, I don't know exactly what he does with that. This was something I didn't even realize in the manga. I didn't even notice at all until he was animated. But the ends of his hair are constantly sparking like they're on fire. And didn't realize that at all in the manga. When I first saw it in the anime, I was like, why? Huh? What? And I'm like, why is his hair sparking? And it took me way longer than it should have. Like, I feel really kind of just... I feel so... Okay, listen. I've let down my family exactly twice in my life. I've caused immense displeasure and just disappointment in the eyes of my family. The first time was when my mother told me to go to the store and bring back a head of lettuce, and I brought back a head of cabbage. Because they're both balls of leaves, I think that's easy to make. My mom looked at me like I was the biggest disappointment in the family when I did that. Like, it was a genuine mistake. I wasn't trying to be funny. It was like, yeah, here you go. I'm like, this is cabbage. And she's like, oh my God, Matthew. So that's the one disappointment. The second disappointment is I didn't realize that Cracker's hair was a pun on firecrackers. You get it? Because here's a cracker. Here's a firecracker. Here's a firecracker. So you light it and his hair's constantly on fire. Don't ask me how that makes sense. Don't ask me what his hair is made out of. I guess, you know, he takes his hair, coats his hair in like a fire, something that's like fire resistant, and then sticks like firecrackers in his buns and then just lights them before he goes out every day. Like, that's just his style. Whatever, roll with it, okay? So anyway, he does have a scar on his face. We don't exactly know what the scar is from, but yeah, this is what he actually looks like. And then he's got the Mato pretzel. That's his bread. We don't know what rank it is, but it is a ranked sword. Okay. So his ability is actually massively broken. And it's one of those situations where Luffy was very lucky to have Nami helping him out, because if Nami was not there in a straight-up fight of just endurance with Luffy fighting against Cracker, considering that the only way Luffy could break through the Cracker armor was when he went into Gear 4th, and Luffy cannot maintain Gear 4th for very long. If Nami was not there, and it was just a straight-up 1v1 between Cracker and Luffy, I would honestly probably put more money on Cracker in that particular instance. Now, granted, Luffy had some other techniques he did not utilize yet, such as Snake Man. So you can throw that out there as a possibility, but that would be actually really cool if, you know, Luffy so early on in the arc had to resort to the technique he used to defeat Katakuri, who is like his final opponent during that arc, okay? So, the situation here, he ate the bis fruit, or the bisu, the biscuit fruit, alright? Which I said, these are crackers, biscuits, whatever, okay. So, he's able to create biscuits by clapping. And then poof! Poof! Biscuits! Okay, so, you know, handy to have in case you're starving. If you're on some random deserted island somewhere, you'll be okay, you know, you'll be like, alright, well, at least we got food. And because Cracker himself stated he is an artisan, he is a true master of his craft, the biscuits are also delicious as well. On top of the biscuits, it's not really something that's related to his devil fruit. I think it's just because he is a baker, you know, because, you know, he's from Totland and his name is Cracker, so you gotta be good at making, you know, baked goods, okay? He also created a special jam mix, which he actually fills up the cracker dolls that he creates. So even when they're like damaged or, you know, wounded, it gives the impression that they're bleeding, which also lends to the idea that that's his actual body. So when Cracker is out there in the world fighting the Marines or fighting, you know, the Supernovas or other pirates or Rouge or whatever he's doing, let's say he's fighting against some Marines and like Momonga uses his sword and slices off his arm, it really will, like, blood or jam will guzzle out of the wound. So to give the impression that, oh, that's his actual body, to, you know, to continue the illusion, the facade that Cracker is creating, because he doesn't want people to know what his real face is like, right? So he could do that, but I don't think the jam thing is related to the fruit. I don't think he can create more jam. It's just like he can just make that special mix, and he just shoves it like blood packs, like under his clothes or whatever, so to give that illusion, okay? But no, yeah, so that's what he does. He claps his hands, Biscuits and Crackers appear, and then he can basically grind them down into just dust or just really, really refined crumbs. And then he takes those crumbs and he molds them into whatever shape he desires. His default Biscuit armor looks like this. There are also Biscuit soldiers that patrol Totland and Whole Cake Island he creates, and then Big Mom uses her soul powers to make them homies. So essentially, he has an entire army at his disposal at any given time. Now, we don't know exactly if this works the same way like with Sugar's fruit. Whenever Sugar lost consciousness, all of the toys that she created turned back into humans. It might be a similar thing, like as soon as Luffy knocked him out, all of the Biscuit soldiers across the land just immediately returned to just their pounded up like crumbs and just dust, and they could not be useful anymore. Might be the same case there. But it's a very useful ability because he can create... Seemingly, infinite is a pretty tall order there. Even Nami questioned it, like, is the number of biscuits he could create infinite? And Luffy specified that he was actually kind of smart in that one particular instance. Luffy was like, well, even if they are infinite, his stamina's not infinite. Because you figure Cracker eventually has to rest. He has to go to sleep. I mean, this might not seem like a very strenuous activity, but keeping this up for 11 hours straight, it's gonna get your arms kind of tired, right? Oh, God. All right, we're gonna keep this. This is the new exercise routine, okay? And 11 hours is exactly how long Luffy's fight against Cracker lasted. Yeah, there's something with Totland and Luffy fighting ridiculously long, drawn-out fights of, fertility, where the opponent could just constantly create a new substance. Like, Katakuri could keep on creating the mochi, Cracker keeps on creating the biscuits, okay? So anyway... you'd think, by the way, the 11-hour thing, like with Katakuri's fight was a little longer. It was like 14 hours or something. But you'd figure, like, Katakuri, it made sense because Luffy kept jumping in and out of the mirror world, and Katakuri had to take him out because of all the shit Luffy pulled at the tea party and everything. Cracker, though, you'd figure, like, after a couple of hours and he realized that it was just like back and forth kind of battle. Because what was happening was Cracker's soldiers are very durable, and he can keep creating more and more, but the problem is Nami was there, and Nami was using her Climattact to create rain, and whenever, it's the same deal like Mr. 3 Galdino's Doru Doru no Mi. He creates wax that's as hard as steel, but it's still wax, so if you light it on fire, then it melts. Cracker's same deal. His biscuits are hard as steel, probably even harder than that if even Luffy had to go Gear 4 to break through them, right? Pretty damn durable shit. But they're still made of biscuit materials, so there's still bread and flour, essentially. So, bread is made from flour and water. There we go. You ever hear of hardtack? Hardtack is like the stuff they would use on those, like, long journeys at sea back in the day because it's a long-lasting food supply. If you read Dr. Stone, Senku mentions it in Dr. Stone when going on a long sea voyage. We need hardtack. It's basically just, water and flour, and you get really hard biscuits. They're also called, like, steel sheets, molar breakers, like sailors would come up with all these crazy names for them because they're, like, really hard to eat, and, apparently they also sell them in public school lunchrooms. Okay, but anyway, it's hardtack. So, but if you get them wet, they become soggy, and, they are easier to break and eat and consume at that point, okay? So basically, the 11 hours went like this. Cracker creates soldiers. They attack Luffy. Nami creates rain. makes the soldiers very soggy. Luffy eats them. Wash, rinse, and repeat, quite literally, for 11 hours. You'd think after a certain point, Cracker would be like, okay, this isn't working. I'm gonna go retreat, bring some other people here to help me. You'd think like, okay, 45 minutes into the fight, you'd think, okay, this is a really long-ass fight. 2 hours into the fight, Cracker would be like, alright, this is just getting ridiculous. You'd think like, I think around like 3, 4, 5 hour point, Cracker would be like, alright, this isn't going anywhere. I have to go get help, alright, because this is just gonna go on all night, you know? But maybe Cracker was like, he was a sweet commander. The idea of him going for help, especially considering, you know, the other sweet commanders are Smoothie and Katakuri. Katakuri was definitely stronger than Cracker. Smoothie we didn't get to see that much from. Oda really wants to, like, get us to understand that Smoothie was really strong. Whenever Oda talks about Smoothie, he just kind of, like, in SBS's, he's like, listen, I didn't get to use Smoothie as much as I would have liked, but she is very strong. You know, that's whenever Oda talks about her. So, maybe the hierarchy went, like, Snack when he was still a Sweet Commander, and then Cracker, and then Smoothie, and then Katakuri. But the way I look at it is, you know, Snack was probably on the bottom. He was the youngest of all the he was the youngest of all the Sweet Commanders. I like to think maybe Smoothie and Cracker were on an even keel, and Katakuri was the strongest. Because I don't like to think like Cracker was very weak. It was just one of those situations where it's like the perfect scenario, like this infinite loop, because you have to deal with Luffy's bottomless stomach and Nami's ability to create rain whenever she wants for as long as she wants, and then Cracker's, like, you know, nigh infinite, you know, nigh infinitum Cracker powers. You know, like, it's just like at some point, Cracker should have realized this is not going to end. I need to leave or I'm gonna pass out. I guess Cracker was debunking on Luffy's stomach ending first. Like, it was just like, all right, what's gonna fill up first? Your stomach, or, you know, is my exhaustion gonna fill up and then I'm gonna pass out? Let's figure it out, right? Okay. So, eventually, though, it does get to the point where Luffy recharges Gear 4th, and he has to finish this in one attack, so he goes into Tank Man, a form that Cracker had not seen yet, and then Cracker goes to pierce him with the sword. However, the sword in that situation, the haki was so condensed around Luffy's belly, his expanded belly, because it wasn't just Tank Man, it was Tank Man full version, because he was full, and so the sword gets sucked into Luffy's, like, giant undulating belly. Luffy's like, get in my belly! And he's like, what? What? No! 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 Cracker gets, like, sucked in. It's like, what the hell? And then Luffy's like, alright, Nami, don't soften, don't moisten the soldiers. Gumu Gumu no cannon! Boom! And he just, like, sumo undulates Cracker out, slams through, like, 3 of his Cracker soldiers, busts his head on those, and then slams into the side of the Whole Cake Chateau. Cracker is KO! Dramatic finish. But damn, that fight lasted forever. And you know what? Because I'm me, let's try to figure out some of this stuff here. Let's break down the logistics here. So here's the deal, alright? I'm not very good at math, but I think I got this broken down. By the way, last night on Twitter, thanks to anybody that answered that math question, my one friend's brother was practicing for the SATs, and I was at his house, and he's like, like all of us were stumped on this one question, and I'm like, well, see what Twitter thinks. So thanks to everybody. The answer was D, by the way. Just a coincidence. It all comes back to D. Alright, so for the situation with Cracker, alright, first I had to figure out how many Cracker soldiers can he create in a set amount of time. Now, we don't get, like, the scene's kind of cut away. We actually, honestly, we get Sanji's backstory in the middle of this fight. Like, Luffy first starts to fight Cracker, and then we get the backstory of Sanji being a child and being, you know, picked on by his brothers and locked in the dungeon with the Iron Mask and then getting away from the Vinsmokes and the Germa. We get that whole backstory, and then we cut back 11 hours later to the fight currently in progress, and Luffy's all ballooned up, and he's, okay. Bring on the next round! You know, okay. So here's the deal. When Cracker first emerges from his armor, and he first starts, in typical anime fashion, starts to display the ability to create biscuit soldiers in front of Luffy, it takes him about 1 minute and 15 seconds in the anime to create 5 Cracker soldiers. We do not know if that's his upper limit. We know he has a limit of how many he can create at one particular instance. We know that much. Because, like, if that was the case, Cracker would have just been like, and then like 1,000 soldiers would emerge and just like whomp Luffy and Nami. Like, he can't make that many that fast, okay? That's like, because that would just be an exercise of like, that's like the Hydra, except the Hydra's like, you know, spewing more heads every 2 seconds. It's like, doesn't matter how fast Luffy can eat. Luffy's a really good eater, but if Cracker could summon that many soldiers at once, it would just be game over. Kind of like playing like Boxhead Zombie Wars. That's an obscure reference. While we're going back to the high school days, when I was in high school, in the computer lab, we would play a game called Boxhead Zombie Wars. It is a fun game. If you want to go look it up before Flash dies, go look it up. But anyway, the premise of the game was you create a fortress, and you arm the fortress with, like, gun turrets and explosives and, like, barricades and stuff, and then you're a character, you can go around and you can hold various, like, a gun or a shotgun or a machine gun or, like, a minigun. And then when every round starts, zombies come down to try to take over your fortress, right? And so you have to build up more and more and more. It's a fun game, but eventually you get to the point in later levels where it doesn't matter how reinforced you make your fortress, how many things you add, how many weapons you have. There's just so much crap on the screen. There's so many zombies and mummies and skeletons and Frankenstein monsters, and there's like demons in the later levels that appear and like shoot fireballs at you. Eventually there's just so much nonsense on the screen. No matter how much you reinforced, you just get gwomped and you die. That was the inevitability of that game. But it was a fun game, so that'd be kind of like that. So, from what we see, though, in the anime, 1 minute and 15 seconds, which is 75 seconds, Cracker can create 5 soldiers. Let's just roll with that. He might be able to make more, but that's all I got to go on, so let's just go with that, alright? So 75 seconds equal 5 soldiers. You have 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. 3,600 times 11 is 39,600. 39,600 seconds in 11 hours that this fight took place. Then you divide that by 75, you get 528, times that by 5 for the soldiers, you get a grand total of 2,640 Cracker soldiers, Biscuit soldiers, whatever you want to call them. That is how many apparently Cracker was able to make, where he makes 5, he has to wait for the 5 to be fully molded and battle ready. They go to attack Luffy. Nami uses the weather ball, makes it rain. Making it rain, Nami! And then, they get soggy. Luffy's like, get over here! He's like opening up his mouth. Gumu, gumu, baku, baku! Nom! Cracker's like, crab, he can eat fast. Come on! Go, go, go! Next army! Next up! Come on, boom tube! Come on, let's rock! Go, go, go! And that just goes on for 11 hours. Alright, so that's a lot of crackers, Luffy. That's a lot of damn crackers, alright? Woo! Alright. So that's what we got there. What else can we... Okay, let's talk about the song. Let's do that. Alright, so... You know, you don't really think about it really, but when I sat down and started making, you know, this video and researching all this stuff and like hardtack and doing all calculations and everything, I start to sit down and wonder, I'm like, okay, is there a reason why he claps his hands? You know, like, is that like a Japanese, like, proverb? It's like, he who claps his hands thrice receives 3 crackers in return. So, basically what it comes down to is there's a children's song in Japan that is about a magical pocket in a jacket that can create more biscuits. So, I am going to attempt to sing this song to you now. There is an English translation, obviously. I can throw up English lyrics, I could just sing it that way. But the problem is, like, when you do that, when you translate a song just directly from one language to another, you're gonna have, like, you know, you're gonna lose rhyme and stuff to that. So, we're just gonna... Oh, that's my receipt from when I got my sandwich last night. Okay, so here we go. Here's the Magic Pocket song. Bear with me here. Whew. Pocket to no naka ni wa biscuit to ga hitotsu. Pocket to o tataku to biscuit to wa futatsu. Mo hitotsu tataku to biscuit to wa mitsu. Tara ite miru tabe biscuit to wa fureru. So na fushigi na pocket to ga hoshii. So na fushigi na pocket to ga hoshii. Hope that was good. That was totally the first take. 100% the first take. But yeah, basically, magic jacket that has a pocket that gives you biscuits. So if you're writing a D&D campaign and you want to create a magical item that's not super overpowered, but kind of overpowered, magic jacket pockets that give you an infinite amount of biscuits. Okay. My pocket is so buttery and salty right now. Okay. So, the basic idea, though, behind Cracker hiding in his armor, as I said earlier, is because he can't really deal with pain very much. It's like, okay, well, you can't deal with pain, so it's a pretty good devil fruit to have. I have a theory. Go figure. I have a theory that, let's say Cracker ate his fruit when he was very young, kind of like Katakuri. Katakuri had his mochi powers at a young age. I think he ate it when he was like 5. So let's say Cracker was kind of the same deal. Big Mom managed to find the Tsunomi and gave it to Cracker when he was like 5 years old. If Cracker was able to create these really sturdy biscuit armors and soldiers to protect him and hide inside at a young age, then yeah, he probably wouldn't have dealt with pain and injury very much. Okay, because he could just use that to protect himself. So over the decades of him having this power, he's the 10th son, so he's in his 40s. He's a little bit older. Wait, no, I think he's in his 40s. Either 40s or late 30s, but I think he's in his 40s. He's the 10th son of the family. So yeah, I mean, he probably just didn't deal with pain very often, except for when Luffy defeated him, and also that scar on his face. Now, we don't know where he got that scar, but keep in mind, he did fight against a Rouge, and he also, the Big Mom Pirates had a dealing with Kid and Killer at some point, because Kid was the one that kind of sunk a few of their ships that Tamago was talking about, and also later on, when they were in the prison, Caribou was like, gossiping with Luffy, like, that's Captain Kid, I hear he got his arm ripped off by the Big Mom crew, and then Kid, like, corrected the record. He's like, I didn't get my arm ripped off when I fought Big Mom, learn your facts, I got this when I fought against Shanks. You could throw out your own theories there, whether, like, Kid made fun of Shanks' arm, and so he's like, oh, okay, well, and then it's like, so we have another redhead with only one arm in the series, right? So he lost his arm to Shanks, but Kid and Killer still did have a dealing with Big Mom's crew at some point. So we don't know how long ago that was. It was during the 2-year time skip. We just don't know if it was like, 2 months before the time skip started. It could have been over a year. So maybe during that brawl, maybe that's, Killer or Kid fought against Cracker and managed to find his, break through his armor and then slashed his face. And Cracker was like, oh god, and he was like out of commission for like a couple of months after that until his face healed. He got the scars somewhere, so I'm just saying, it's like, Kid and Killer, I could see them breaking through the armor, figuring out a way to get through that, and through brute force, and then scarring Cracker some way. Also, even though he's in the protective armor, he's still gotta be careful, because if, like, Luffy was, he's got Gear 4th, he breaks through the armor, Luffy punched through it, Cracker was able to be, he has observation hockey too, he was able to dodge the punch, like I'm gonna like scrunch down in like the bottom of the armor so the fist goes over, but if he's not careful, or if Kid just like, let's say Kid made a giant arm of massed like, scrap metal, and like, nails and, spikes sticking out of it, and he armament hockeys that up, and he just goes to like crush the entire armor, Cracker might not be able to, it might break through the armor and Cracker might not be able to hide while in it, like it's still like slash, he might be able to escape at last minute, but it's still like slashed his face. Could be something like that. So he's got to be careful in that regard. But yeah, I would love to see Cracker again, to see more what he's capable of. In any other situation where water is not readily available, why didn't Cracker, I guess Cracker might have tried to attack Nami, but Luffy was just protecting her for the entire 11 hours. Also, Nami had Lola's Vivre card, so that means King Bomb and all of the, the homies of the forest had to listen to her. So maybe they kept her safe. But, if you put up just Luffy versus Cracker one-on-one, eventually, yeah, Luffy can break through the Cracker armor in Gear 4th, but he can't maintain Gear 4th for that long. So basically, all Cracker has to do is manage to wait until Gear 4th ends. When Luffy's in a weakened state, there's no one else to help him, and then he just makes... All right, let's keep this party going, and Luffy can't eat the crackers if they're hard as, like they're molar breakers, they're so hard. That's why Nami had to make them soft first, so Luffy can't keep eating them. So, yeah, he would get gwomped. He would get overrun at some point. But anyway, that's the Cracker video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something about crackers or biscuits or cookies. I hope you enjoyed the song. You guys have a great night. Eat some crackers. Signing out. Have a cracker, Barry. Have a cracker. Just eat a cracker, Barry. Come on, eat it. Get that cracker in there. Get that. There we go. There we go.